You have reached the public service. Ask yourself one question. Are you a taker or a maker? As with any situation in life, is your situation taking or making you happy? This is a public service show, and I'm Sandra.
And I'm Kirk.
And today's show is about billionaire landlocks.
3 words. Well, we like the word land. We just don't like billionaire or locks.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Let's get into this bad boy without further ado. In case you were wondering or didn't know, billionaires are currently buying massive ranches and private enclaves around U.S. national parks. They use this land to build private luxury retreats, secure exclusive recreation, and influence public land management. This trend limits public access and changes how nearby natural parks are used.
Major land purchases are in Montana, the Yellowstone area, and wealthy elites are buying up land near Yellowstone and the Glacier National Parks. The Yellowstone Club is a private ski and golf resort near Big Sky. It has over 900 elite members, including prominent figures like Mark Zuckerberg, Tom Brady, and members own luxury property and actively influence local land use. For example, the club financed a controversial land swap in the Crazy Mountains. This exchange created a private barrier around newly opened public trails, frustrating local hunters and hikers.
Well, that's one way to keep people out of the national parks is to buy up all the land around them and then tell everybody to jump in a lake, so to speak, and not let them through.
That's true.
Oh, my goodness.
That's true.
What is going on in this country?
Greed. They want everything that the United States has to offer for themselves and themselves alone. Pretty soon, access to anything wonderful will be owned by the billionaires. So
we've got to
this
stop.
Is yours.
We've got to stop feeding these beasts. Let's see here. In New Mexico, billionaire Stan Kroenke, something like that, owner of the Los Angeles Rams, bought nearly 1 million acres in New Mexico. This particular purchase made him the largest private landowner in all of the United States. Apparently, I guess all of his land combined hits about 2.7 million acres, which is larger than Yellowstone National Park by itself.
That's right. Now when I think about one of the things that Doge did right away, it cut the forestry system. So when they bought these lands, they made sure that access was very limited to regular people like us who actually own it. Doge went in and cut and dismantled the forestry system, remember, that manages all of these lands. Political influence and public lands of wealthy landowners often influence how the federal government manages public lands, areas owned by all Americans, such as the National Forest and the Bureau of Land Management areas. Former administration officials, such as the Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, owned property in these exclusive clubs. Officials like Burgum have pushed to cut budgets for the national park system. They have also tried to repeal the roadless rule, A policy that keeps roads and logging out of nearly 60 million acres of wild forests. I'll say that again. A policy, it's called roadless rule, that keeps roads and logging out of nearly 60 million acres of wild forest. In other words, they made it so that they can take all the timber they need and want without restriction. Why would they need that? What do you think? What do you think they're up to?
You know,
What is your speculation?
I can go all the way from something as innocuous as they're just land grubbing hoarders, like they hoard money, all the way to they feel like they've got to have these private enclaves with massive security so that they can do whatever it is that they want to do where prying eyes can't see, like raping children, eating children. I mean, these are the people who can afford this stuff. These are people who are the Epstein class. So, yeah, so you can kind of pick and run the gamut from that to that.
What if another thing? These are the pristine lands of the United States. What if they're building bunkers to be able to survive because of global warming and the fires and terrible things that are to come? That way they can prevent anyone from using the pristine lands and they can have them for themselves. I mean, a lot of fires have been coming through here, floods and things. Maybe they know something we don't know, that those lands may be, sanctuary for livestock, for building another, what do they called it? Where the ship goes on, you take 2 by 2.
Oh, like an ark?
Yeah, an Ark of the Covenant or something or whatever.
Well,
it's just an idea. It's not. I know, but they use religion against us all the time. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. But it's just, why would all the billionaires want us to not have access to some of the most pristine lands in the entire United States? It's obvious that it's something nefarious. It's obvious.
Where are these just useless congressional people? Where are they?
Taking money for their own, coffers.
Wow.
They've sold out. They've sold us out. They're allowing everything to happen to us.
Here's what I want to know. This is one of the questions that I really would like an answer to. Who are the fools that protect these foolish idiots, do these foolish idiots bidding? I mean, where are the people?
Those, you mean like
no, I'm not
Elon
talking about
Musk
one
stuff?
individual. I'm talking about the people that work for these people on a daily basis. These people aren't doing this all by themselves. Who are the administrative assistants? The scumbags that are on the payroll and have been on the payroll for 10 and 15 and 20 years. I mean, who are these people? And do they think that these billionaires are going to just, hey, come on and live in my secure compound? No, they're not there. So who are these people enabling all this? This is what I want to know. It's like,
taking money, living off of it. Just because we have, 300 million people or 300 million people in the United States. I don't have the exact number, but I'm close. Scumbags tend to find scumbags. Snakes love to work with snakes. So it seems like a lot of people have turned their back on humanity, and they have. I mean, some people find a lot of comfort in having a lot of cash. Like I think, cash is only important if we feel it's important. Once cash means nothing, you better come at us with some sort of skill. Otherwise, you're useless. Stealing and cheating won't be accepted. Do you know what I mean? So I think that a lot of companies and businesses that are big like this, they have a high turnover rate because sometimes a lot of people with a conscience get in and I'm not going to do this. They're gone. I'm not going to do that either. They're gone. But there's a lot of people that don't care and will do it. You see, that's why the turnover rate's so high. There are people out there with ethics and morals. Right?
Yeah, I guess. And they clearly don't work for these people.
Well, there you asked, but that's what it is. I mean, if you're going to sit there and you're going to be complicit in helping somebody steal all the national park land, you're going to sit there and stamp on them. You're going to be an attorney, their concierge, what do they call it?
Concierge.
Consigliere.
Oh, consigliere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you're going to,
mob term,
yeah. If you're going to be their, their lawyer, you're going to be their assistants, you're just as guilty. Because you know what you're writing, you know what's being signed, and you know what's happening, and you know why. And somehow in the back of the recesses of your mind, you believe that you're going to be right along with them in these exclusive areas that they're stealing from the rest of us. And it is theft. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, and let's see here. Well, as we're talking about this, the impact on you, of course, you, us, we. When billionaires buy private property and that property borders a national park, they can close off historical access points. Among other things, they can close off your ability to get in and out. And then to clarify, a land swap is when the government trades public land in one area for private land in another. In the Crazy Mountains, a recent land swap traded easy-to-reach public lands for private acreage. The swap pushed the public trails into steep, hard-to-reach terrain, and this process essentially turns the edges of public parks into private buffers for the wealthy. And
or they just take the land itself, it sounds like.
I think we just go into these buffers and we just take the wealthy.
I know.
And all the people that are stupid enough to want to be private security for these people who think that they're, them running around shooting average citizens and protecting land that doesn't belong to them is some kind of justification.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Another thing that the billionaires are doing is they're rapidly buying up agriculture land as it's strategically, as a resistant investment. Excuse me, that was a tongue twister. By acquiring hundreds of thousands of acres through private trusts, LLCs, ultra-wealthy investors like Bill Gates has 275,000 acres. Jeff Bezos, 420,000 acres. Ray Dalio has 556,000 acres. And these assets are just steadily appreciating with strong, very high intrinsic value. Why? What happens when these billionaires own all, and I mean all of the farming land? Isn't farming land food?
It makes the land worthless, in my opinion.
But it's food. Why do they want to control all of the food in a nation, right? What happens when a few people own everything? Do they tend to share? Let me think here. I haven't gotten a check from Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, or this Ray guy. Have you? They haven't shared anything with me.
No, but what takes me back to, who are the people protecting this? These guys, these people aren't. Bill Gates isn't standing out there with a 30-06 protecting his 275,000 acres. No, he's got lackings and lemmings shooting average people, keeping them off of 275,000 acres that they'll never be privy to. Who are these people that enable? Like you said, the snakes eat snakes, I guess. These are people who don't really give a crap about people.
Well, if you really want to know who these people are, look who walks with them. Look who talks for them. They have a lot of people that are around them, and a lot of people work for them. I mean, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates have large corporations. A lot of people work for them, and a lot of people are afraid to lose their jobs because that's all they have.
No, I'm not talking about, to use Jeff Bezos as an example, or even Bill
He's-
Gates. I'm not talking about the guy who's throwing your product in a box at Amazon, or someone who's a developer
You're talking
in
about their
Washington.
attorneys.
I'm talking about, no, I'm actually talking about the triggermen. The people who actually have weapons, who patrol these grounds, who their entire lot in life and existence is shooting at people who have the rights to be there, but those rights were thrown in the trash by people like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know who they are either.
Okay, well, what it does do is impacts shift in land ownership towards people who don't deserve the land. Billionaires, yep. People with money, people who don't deserve it. And it is changing the structure of rural America. While some investors aren't totally off the reservation of intelligence and they have sustainable farming, what they have done is they've made the acquisition price far out of the reach of the average farmer or small conglomerate, and it's accelerated the decline of family-owned farms. And much like you're finding out in the media world, that when you have 5 or 6 or 10 individuals that own it all,
They don't
now
share.
you're back in the 1890s and the 1910s, where 5 people own basically everything in the entire country, and they screwed you on a daily basis, left, right, center, up, down, and was justified doing it, and did it with the full backing and blessing of the federal government. And there you have it.
Yeah, well, here we have a situation where we have people that do believe that everyone should be controlled and everything that you have should be owned by others. And that you should have permission to live, it sounds like to me. You need permission to eat. You need permission to work. You need permission, and you have to be a certain thing or a certain sex or a certain whatever. That's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with people that want to choose who gets the fruits of our country, even though we're talking about our money. So they're taking our money every day in taxes and everything, and they're pooling it in this large pool. And then they're telling you don't get this. This belongs to us. Because we control it now, and we get to decide which ones of you get the benefit of your own money. Think about that term. This is our money. And they're telling us repeatedly that we don't get the benefit of our hard work. This is our work. This is our blood, sweat, and tears. But because you had a company or you did your friends with who's ever in the White House, you only get the benefit of our money. I can't stress that enough. Every time I think about this complex situation we're in, it's frustrating to me to no end to know that the American 300 plus millions of us are told we're not going to get the benefit of our own hard-earned money. Slap in the face. Slap in the face. But there's so many people, probably, 30 of them? Billionaires, 40 of them?
Yep.
So many of them that not only are they laughing at us, I don't see any of them going on television saying they care. I don't see them doing press conferences talking about the human condition. I don't see them going out there and being, helpful about the price of food, gas, any of that. But what I do see is I see them buying up everything to control us, to control our food. The gas companies have us in a stranglehold. The power companies are just real estate prices. I mean, we talked to someone today that talked about a 1-bedroom with a 1 bathroom being $1,200 a month. I'm like, oh my God, that's ridiculous.
And I think there are people out there who would probably say that's a good deal considering.
It isn't.
I mean, there's probably people out there.
We've
paying,
just learned to
this
live
is
with suffering.
crazy. Yes.
No, we've learned to live with suffering, is what I believe. That's my own opinion. I think that we are struggling so much now that even when they throw us the tiniest little bone, we think it's good. But when you look at the end of the month and what you have left, it isn't good.
You know, I heard
Because do you have anything left? Or are you mortgaging yourself every month and you're behind the 8 ball every month like the young ones are?
I've been hearing something disturbing the last handful of weeks. I've heard from a number of different places and people.
Right.
Human beings tend towards autocratic societies.
Who said that?
Let's see here.
Not me.
I have heard that on a number of the news stations that we've watched.
So we want an autocratic society where we have no rights, no food, no job. We're struggling and we're told to breed.
And that's what I was thinking
No.
as I was hearing
I
these
don't believe
people
it.
say this. And here's what I don't understand.
Men might
Is
want that, though. That might be
how-
just a masculine thing because we're oppressed.
How? And well, I will say this much. The people that have said it are men that I've heard
Thank
a
you.
tendency towards an autocratic society. And I think that these are people who haven't struggled either ever or in an extraordinarily long time. And let me
I gotta
finish
make
this one thing before
yeah.
I
I gotta make a point.
I finish is back to what you were saying about billions. You know, if these people with all this cash actually cared, I don't need to hear them talk. I don't need to hear them write any. What I need to see is someone go from worth $180 billion down to worth $500 million, and the 170 billion 0.5 just got divvied out to people that need it. Now there's a billionaire putting their money where their mouth is. I don't need to hear articles or them compete. No, I want to see the money where make the money work.
Okay, that statement you made about autocratic and that we kind of lean towards it. I just have a short little statement. If autocratic societies were so wonderful like Russia, China, North Korea, why are people fleeing and not running to them?
Bingo.
That's all I have to say. People flee those types of societies. They don't run to, they run away.
Agreed.
Why do they run away? Because people are individuals. Once you take away your individuality and your entire life is one big struggle, how in whatever does that sound appealing? And the first thing that they do is abuse us women. And the first people to flee are women and children.
Yep.
So I don't care what they're saying about they want autocratic societies because they're just helping the person that's in the White House currently make it look like he's doing a good thing. But the reality of the situation is that they fall because they're abusive. They overthrow their governments because it's abusive. They do not want to be there because the struggle is too much. They don't want to live there because it's unhappiness, it's alcoholism, it's drug abuse, it's homelessness, it's children that you can't feed.
Yep.
It is a constant struggle to just stay afloat. And how? Do tell. Show me the mass exodus from the United States or any other country to an autocratic society. So I challenge those men that say this is a wonderful place to be to prove to me that millions are going to these countries that treat people like that. I bet I win.
Oh, I 100% agree. That's why I brought it up. I cannot believe that there is this segment of people out there in this country that make the statement, oh, human beings tend toward autocratic.
That's a lie. It's 100% a lie.
I guess if you're a man and you rule the roost, yeah. But to your point.
Yeah, I want to be able to beat my children, beat my wife, still have women on the side. I don't want to have to work. I want to be taken care of, blah, 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 blah. I'm the king of the castle. Yeah. But you don't live in a castle because your wife doesn't help you with finances. You have too many kids that you can't feed. And you're not a king. You're one of the lowly workers that is struggling just like everybody else. But in your mindset, this is Shangri-La.
Which is kind of scary because if this is Shangri-La, then holy cow.
I do not listen to the absurd. And that is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. I've read enough history books to say that people flee. They run away because they know the first thing they're going to lose is their music, is their writing, is their any type of creativity, your painting, your artistry. Creativity is so stifled in these countries that you are suffocated into nothingness.
I agree. Not going to get pushback from me on that. Now, kind of back to this really quick, though. What do we do with this? This
educate.
Is the kind of stuff that really flies under the radar.
No, it's not. We're talking about it.
I'm just saying. In general, this isn't gas. This isn't grocery prices. This isn't, health care insurance. This isn't any of those things that all the talking heads talk about 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Every once in a while, you'll kind of hear something, if it's super fantastical, and a really ridiculous amount of land has changed hands, but this guy is system. When I say this guy, I'm talking about Donald Trump, because all of this stuff was protected under previous presidents. This kind of stuff didn't take place, and now, and what's missing from this, and we'll never know, at least not anytime in the near future. It might probably come up is how much did Donald Trump make off of this to allow it to happen? Because that's what happened. He's like, if you give me $1 billion in crypto, I'll let you buy up all the land near the national parks.
That's going to be a real problem, though. Right? Even though they're going to do what they call the land swap. Did you hear that part? Where then they buy all the land around it, which probably isn't such good land. And then they say, okay, now I want to swap it for the forest land.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take all of the lands. So they can make a deal, but any deal they make can be undone. And the reason why it can be undone is because it was done nefariously. This is all nefarious. They're trying to buy up every piece of pristine land. And let's look at the waterways. The glacier, National Glacier, water. Yellowstone, water. Montana, Yellow Area, waterways. Think about that. If they control water, guess what happens to us?
We were just talking earlier, a couple hours ago, about, there was a story on about how far down the dams are right now, the Colorado River, and the handful of states that no one should be living in, by the way, because they're deserts. The handful of states that are now going to have to figure out water. And we were talking about, and I made very clear, there will be wars over water. As water becomes more and more scarce, and this has just happened throughout history. There have been decades-long wars, century-long wars for natural resources. And some of this stuff, if you don't live on a coast where you can utilize
That's what's going to
desalinization
happen.
plants.
That's what's going to happen is
But-
the tubes and the things that are carrying water to these areas that are struggling, and we're going to struggle. Even in my state, you know, California is where we live.
Yeah.
We have our reservation, our reservoirs are low, but we are a coastal society. They can set up desalinizations all up and down the coast.
Yeah.
And they can push enough water. I mean, our planet is covered in water. They can push enough water to Colorado through the same pipelines that the water's rushing now, right? It's not impossible. It's just a lot of work. And we have to actually stop with the combustible engine. We have to. I don't care what anybody says. Global warming is here. Everybody just stop playing.
Yep.
You know, don't wait till the last drop is gone. You know, let's stop and educate ourselves and find out. Do a little research. 20 years ago, did we have this problem? We had drought occasionally, but not like every year. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, did we have tornadoes and hurricanes? Yeah, but not that wipes us out everywhere, every year. The low-lying sea areas, were they being wiped out? Occasionally, but not every year. Look at your statistics, do your homework. Don't sit there and the ones that want to call me names and tell me I'm crazy, because I'm not. I have hard facts that back me up, and you have none. Well, because you live somewhere where you may not be affected doesn't mean that your fellow Americans aren't being affected. Louisiana, watch what happens to Florida in the next 5 years. I'd start selling some land there. You know, it is underwater. Louisiana, you know what I mean? The bayou, underwater.
New Orleans.
That's New Orleans.
Oh, but you are crazy. Crazy good.
Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
I'm just trying to, you know what is inspiring to me? I'm just going to try to end this on a high note. The young ones in my family are onto it. I'm proud of us. Mm-hmm. And we talked to a young man today that's actually working for us. He gets it. He gets it 100. And I'm proud of our parents, his parents.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, yay. He understands the environment. He understands what it takes to survive. He understands that the cost of living is unfair to him, because it is.
Yep.
He understands that people are taking away his future, whereas people like us are fighting for it. He understands the complexities that we're dealing with a one-sided society. Take the racism out of it. Just look at it hard. There are wealthy people here that can fix everything that is wrong in society, and they choose not to. They can fix the water shortage. They can fix the car problems. They can fix the food shortage. They can fix the cost of food and the cost of oil, like that.
Can fix it all.
But what have they decided to do? I don't see anything. You see, this is what they decided to do. Plug their ears, plug their mouths. And so that tells you that they are complicit in your suffering. They care less, not at all, about your problems. And when one of them stands up in media and tells us how wonderful their lives are,
yeah,
and how they don't have anything to struggle and how much money they've made, just remember that if anything you've purchased from them, put them there, rethink what you buy from them. Look at that person hard and understand that he could fix. I mean, if 5 or 6 of these billionaires got together and said, enough, let's stop with the cars, right?
Yep.
Let's help people get into electric cars. Let's stop with the consuming of everything. Let's stop the tariffs so that the price of food comes down. They could do that. Just 5 of those billionaires could just go to the White House and go, people are struggling.
They don't even need the White House. They could just go and...
What about health care? I'm I'm going to tell you something personal about myself. Right? This is none of your business, but I'm saying I wanted to get the, weight loss drug because I'm overweight, just like him. But I'm at an age where it's very difficult to get. I was told that I can't have it because of my age and because I'm not type 2. I'm borderline. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So they told me, oh, you have to pay $1,300 a month.
$1,300 a month.
I don't have that kind of money. We don't.
Very few people do.
So because they cut health care, it's affecting us as well. And I know that's none of your business and whatever. So I have to figure out a way to take care of myself, right? So that's what the big, ridiculous bill did. Cut health care. What if these 5 billionaires got together and said, oh, let's reinstate some health care. Let's help some people. Let's bring down the cost. I haven't seen a single person.
Think about that a second. If you're not a government and you have hundreds of billions of dollars at your disposal, all that overhead is gone. You could literally make 99 cents on every dollar work for someone.
Everything in healthcare. I've only told about myself, but I'm paying more bills in healthcare than we ever used to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. We're just as impacted as everybody else, but they don't care. You'll find no sympathy from this current federal government. You'll find no sympathy from many of the states that support this particular federal government. You definitely will find no sympathy or help from the billionaires because as far as they're concerned, if you have a dollar, they want your dollar.
It's not even that. It's
take.
It's like, is it about crashing America? Is it about making America so unaffordable that everybody's in the streets? Oh, what's the end game here? I mean, healthcare, without healthcare, we don't have children. But I don't think they thought about that, right? If you don't have access to healthcare, pregnant women die. Babies die. The birth rate drops 30 to 40%. Boom. And that's just not for minorities. It's for everyone.
Yeah.
What if we can't sustain our health? There's a lot of people with high blood pressure that can't afford their medication. There's a lot of people with diabetes type 1 that need insulin daily. Can't afford it, right? So you're having a high death rate, right? You have other people with all kinds of different things. So to come back to the billionaire land grab, their priorities are to obviously take all of the resources of America and keep it for themselves.
For themselves.
So, like I said, I told you a little bit about myself. I'm cool with that, right? I just think that humanizing the situation with everyone else and their struggles is really important. I know we're sitting behind a camera looking like we've got everything together. We don't. We're just as human as you are. And I want you to understand that I'm right there with you. I'm fighting with you. I'm trying to figure out things with you like you.
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
It's
we are.
The mess.
Yes, it is.
The level of mess keeps compounding. Mm-hmm. And yeah. I'm not sure what more to say about it. The only thing that I know for a fact is it's got to stop.
No, we have to stop them. It's just the same thing, but they won't stop. It does have to stop, and we can tell them to stop, but we're at a point now where these people won't be told. They're at a point now where they won't listen. They're at a point now where our voice is deaf. They don't care.
We need to take their governmental protections away. Right now, they're being enabled. They have been, and it's not even just right now. They've been enabled since the 80s. The minute Ronald Reagan took the oath of office and started obliterating all of the different
don't
things.
give it to Ronald Reagan. He turned it over to Wall Street to govern.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't intelligent enough to understand what he had. But Wall Street said, let's get rid of the unions.
Yep, let's get rid of pensions and stuff. Put everything into a 401k so we can control it via the stock market.
Let's get rid of consumer protection laws.
Yeah.
Guess what came out? Monsanto and Roundup.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now we all have forever.
We have forever chemicals. Guess what else kept? Plastic.
Microplastics.
Lots of plastic. Who cares if it hurts the environment? Look how much money you make.
Yeah, not to mention, the environment. Everybody, children are being born now with microplastics in them.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
I've often told my guy here, my husband, I said, if we were in our 20s, I would not have children. And I'm going to explain to you why. I'm aware, very aware, of the dire situation of our planet heating up and the lack of water. And soon we won't be able to farm because they've poisoned so much of the lands that the land around here where we live in an ag area, the soil is starting to look like sand. And they take so much out of the soil and put nothing back that once it turns to sand, it's very difficult, if ever, to bring it back.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing, hurry up and use this land up. We can just buy more. No. Once you kill something, it's not like you can bring it back. We're going to struggle. We are going to struggle.
Yeah, you people think you're struggling now.
Wait.
You haven't seen anything yet.
And by the way, I heard that there were 60 new tariffs on 60 new countries. So they expect our food to go up 20 to 30% more. The gas prices, I filled up my husband's car today because his is more economical than mine. And that cost us what?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, to fill up the car today was $60.
That's a lot.
Especially whenever it was at almost a quarter of a tank.
Yeah. It cost about $50 to fill my car up halfway.
Yeah.
40-something. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Halfway. Anyway, we've complained enough. So.
Yep.
But no, we haven't. It's not about complaining. It's about educating.
Well, it's about if you can think of it, they're jerking it around and jerking you around and anybody else who's associated with whatever it is you're thinking. From land to vehicles to food to air to water, you name it, they're jacking around with it. And their intention is nothing left for anyone else other than them and who they deem to be in their little inner circle.
Worthy,
whatever, however you want to call it.
One more thing, though. Their children, once they kill off all the brain trusts, and there's a lot of brilliant people out there that just aren't rich, right? Yeah. They work for all these companies. They design all this stuff. And once they kill off the brain trusts, I don't think that these Ivy League kids that got in there because daddy's name is there and somebody else is doing their schoolwork and homework and stuff, and they get this sheepskin that is basically worthless, is going to be able to desalinate water, is going to be able to farm anything, and is going to be able to, take care of cattle, chickens, because these are elitists. I would love to see a billionaire's child out there scooping poop after cows. I would love that. And I don't think I'd ever see that because these people are better than us.
After they say like 5,000 times in a single sentence. Because they're
Like-
college educated. Yeah, right. All righty. That's a good note to close on.
Right. This is a public service show, and I'm Sandra.
And I'm Kirk. Thepublicservice.org. Please go there. Please hop on the message board. Interact with us. We like to hear the comments.
Yeah.
Like to read them. Hopefully we can do a little more interacting.
That would be wonderful. Come and visit us. Talk to us. Give us feedback. Whatever.
Yeah.
Show ideas. Okay.
You have been watching a public service show. America is part of a global community. Sandra and I are well aware that the American experience had the hope for freedom. America isn't perfect by any means, and we are currently having our freedoms tested. Here at the Public Service Show, we're going to look at how and why we're at this point in America.